My name is Aram, and my pronouns are he, him. I'm the writer and producer of the Dungeons & Dragons podcast, God's Fall.
My name's Dylan. My pronouns are he, they, and I'm a physicist from Canada.
Welcome to Kill Every Monster. In this episode, we are featuring the Dragon Turtle.
The Monster Manual states that dragon turtles are among the most fearsome creatures of the oceans. As large and voracious as the oldest of its land-based dragon kin, a dragon turtle strikes with its deadly jaws, steaming breath, and crushing tail.
We are joined by Glaiza. Glaiza, whose pronouns are they, he, is a person with many hats. They are a podcast host, a writer, and an award-winning TTRPG player. They hail from the Philippines, Brunei, Korea, Cambodia, San Diego, California, and now currently live somewhere in Portland, Oregon. They're currently the guide to the longest-running Monster Care Squad actual play from the library. And not to brag, but the creator of said game called it the best Monster Care Squad stream. Find them everywhere you can spot at Classical Glaiza. Welcome to the show, Glaiza.
Hello. I'm glad to be here.
Again.
Yeah, again, technically. Second time recording.
Everyone only gets one monster. Some people get that monster twice.
It's fine.
Listen, if at first you don't succeed, drive it into the fucking ground.
Keep doing it again and again.
So, Glaiza,
Yes.
why don't you tell the people what a dragon turtle is?
Dragons are my most favorite fantasy creature. And turtles are more of the secret thing that I like that not many people know that I like it. So,
It's a good twofer.
yeah. So when I found the dragon turtle, I was like, this is awesome. And also, I've had a lot of experience with dragon turtles during my travel. Not that they exist, not that I've met an actual thing in real life.
I got excited for a second there.
So they're very, very an important part of like East Asian culture. They're protectors, they're guardians. Usually they would be placed on burial grounds to protect the king's burial grounds or something like that. I have this picture of me sitting on top of a dragon turtle. I basically knew dragon turtles from a non-D&D view.
How old were you when you were on the Dragon Turtle?
I was in college. It was a long time ago.
Okay. Okay, so I was picturing you as a kid, but now I'm glad that this image
As
is
a kid,
updated.
yeah,
All right.
college.
I mean, as a kid, I did see them in a lot of like different, because like there's this temple in Brunei where I grew up, and there was little dragon turtles. But the one I was talking about, the picture of me like riding a dragon turtle, was in college when I was in Korea, and like we were visiting temples, different kinds of temples, and there was one there, and everybody was like sitting on it, taking turns, and I was like, I will take one. I will take a wonderful picture of me on it.
Yeah, if you get to take a picture of you riding a giant turtle, you absolutely take that photo.
Yeah.
So the dragon turtle was one of those creatures where it was like stealth appropriation. I didn't realize that wasn't just a thing that someone said. Like,
Yeah.
you could almost assume that it's like a typo. There was supposed to be a comma, and then someone saw the two words together and we're like, yeah, make that a monster.
There's the dragon and then the turtle.
And then I found out, yeah, no, these are a thing. There's statues all over the place.
Yeah.
But I couldn't find, like, is there any like mythology associated, or is this like just a pure symbolism thing?
There is one,
Is it Bowser?
no.
Different dragon turtle. Got it.
The reference I always think of is Gamera.
Yeah.
Yeah, fair.
Basically, it is a legendary Chinese creature, so mostly from East Asia, that combines two of the four celestial animals. The dragon turtle is a combination of like two of those four celestial animals. It symbolizes courage, determination, fertility, longevity, power, success, and support. One of the things that I've seen is Pixie, one of the 9 sons of the Dragon King. Pixie is a dragon turtle that is considered one of the sons of the Dragon King.
From the Wikipedia entry on Pixie. Pixie is a figure from Chinese mythology. One of the 9 sons of the Dragon King, he is depicted as a dragon with the shell of a turtle. Stone sculptures of Pixie have been used in Chinese culture for centuries as a decorative plinth for commemorative steles and tablets, particularly in the funerary complexes of its later emperors, and to commemorate important events, such as an imperial visit or the anniversary of a World War II victory. They are also used as the basis of bridges and archways. Sculptures of Pixie are traditionally rubbed for good luck, which can cause conservation issues. They can be found throughout East Asia and the Russian Far East.
So dragon turtles in D&D are just turtles as far as I can see. Like they're snapping turtles and they give them a breath weapon.
The dragon turtles in D&D do not look like the dragon turtles of actual, like, you know, what Chinese mythology is like. It's just a turtle.
Yeah.
Basically, a really large turtle.
All of that list of like courage, they're a symbol of protection, and then you get to like, oh yeah, no, they collect treasure, they're mercenary, they're angry, they're territorial.
It feels more of like the dragon part of like what they talk about it with the dragon turtle, but the dragon turtle is a symbol of luck. In East Asia, you know, a lot of people like to keep it around. You know, a lot of things is a symbol of luck, but the dragon turtle is definitely one of those things that are more to celebrate longevity and luck and, you know, good fortune in your life.
Meanwhile, we have the entry in the monster manual. A dragon turtle is smart enough to be bribed, and pirates sailing the seas patrolled by these creatures quickly learn to offer them treasure in exchange for safe passage.
Grumpy himbo / bully if you want, but that's just not what the dragon turtle is. It feels really reductive. And frankly, like the dragon turtle is one of the most interesting dragons, even though it's so reductive, because at least it has a purpose and a general theme to it.
Yeah.
It sounds like it could be a lot more interesting, and certainly like a lot more than just a fight or a bribe encounter. It could be a really layered NPC encounter.
Yeah, and it also like gives me this idea of like dragon turtles are more nurturing. Yeah, you could say they're territorial, but they're territorial in a sense that they want to protect the people that is maybe living on top of them, like this giant island in the middle of the ocean carrying a dragon turtle, carrying this group of people. They wouldn't be really interested in money and all of that, I don't think, other than if you're going to just say, oh, because they're dragons, they're interested in that. Maybe, but I don't think that's the same way that dragon turtles are.
And dragon turtles don't need gold like other dragons do.
It's a weird thing to have them like hoard.
Especially given that like they're not dragons in any meaningful way. The only overlap with dragons is a steam breath, which, for the record, possibly the most terrifying weapon in the monster manual. Steam burns are fucking scary as hell.
I have 3rd-degree burns, where basically goes through skin and then muscle with steam. So you can get really messed up with the steam breath for sure.
Water has a very, very high specific heat capacity relative to most things, which just means that the amount of actual energy contained in water when you heat it up by a degree is fairly high. So if you have water that is at 100 degrees Celsius, that's actually way more energy than if you had air at 100 degrees Celsius. So if you get a steam burn, that starts to condense, and now you just have incredibly hot water, which again is a tremendous amount of energy in and of itself, just coating your skin, as opposed to like fire it's technically a plasma, but it's air, right? It'll just blow away And it's not actually that much energy per unit temperature. It's just fire is a less dangerous burn per degree of heat than steam. So having something breathe this thing and suddenly everyone is coated in burning, actively terrifying.
I don't know about you guys, but like a cloud that is burning you up is infinitely more scary than fire.
Yeah, it's basically an incredibly thick fog machine that's boiling.
That hurts.
Yeah, that's terrifying. It also feels like probably a last resort weapon, I would think, because of how horrific it is. Or maybe they just use it to also catch a bunch of fish. I don't know. Maybe it's got a more general purpose than a weapon of assault. It's just, maybe they hunt with it. Who knows?
It's also like got the bit in the monster manual where specifically it does fire damage, but also that damage isn't like being underwater doesn't give you resistance to that damage.
Right.
Because it's fucking hot water, right?
Water and you're boiling, like even if you go into the water.
That's cool. But how often does that matter? Especially because like that's one of those rules that matters by contrast. You're only going to notice that it changed anything if you've recently been hit by a fireball underwater. But that idea of a cloud that can hurt you, the idea of this does like 15d6, and also there is now like 100-degree fog on the battlefield. Like it's hard to breathe now. It is hard to see. It might be doing like lingering. It's a lot of heat, but like it probably wouldn't do multiple rounds of damage, but you could make it do multiple rounds of damage because it's magic. Physics doesn't count anymore.
I have this idea in my head as a way for them to protect like maybe its surroundings, where it just blows steam and it's just surrounding this turtle.
Like a bubble of steam around it underwater.
In my head, there's this dragon turtle with a tribe of people just riding it, whatever. And then to protect it, there's just steam surrounding it, So that's just a terrifying sight for people who want to conquer those people who live on the dragon turtle. And that for me is such an interesting idea.
I very much like the idea that dragon turtles grow to be larger than any other dragon, that they just become gargantuanly huge, that this idea of island size.
They literally are gargantuan. And also the picture in the monster manual is like bigger than, what is this? So that's 3 stories of actual decks on this boat.
Right.
So this thing is
huge.
4 or 5 stories tall.
Yeah.
And that's like on its belly. The other thing that's worth noting is, Aram, you were in the Navy. You probably know what happens if there's a bubble under a boat.
It's very bad.
So basically, boats are floating on water. There's some level of buoyancy there. It's holding the boat up. If there is a sufficiently large bubble under the boat, it means that the ends of the boat are being held up by water and the middle isn't anymore. And so the boat will fully fall in the middle because they're usually long enough that they will sag, and then the boat will fucking snap in half.
Oh, wow.
A 60-foot cone could destroy a boat. Mechanically in the sense of like engineering, not mechanically in the sense of the game.
Sure.
But yeah, that sized pocket of gas is, like I said, if you're doing a aquatic campaign, it is apocalyptic.
Dragon turtles should be the natural enemy of ships.
Yeah.
It should be.
Much like how the Tarrasque does double damage to buildings, dragon turtles should do double damage to ships.
Yeah, once every 3 rounds based on the recharge rate.
Also, I Googled just now if turtles ever stop growing. And if you stop feeding them and like giving them the proper care or whatever when they die. But it does seem like there is this idea of turtles just not, that's why you see like tortoises growing as big as they are. And I can see like dragon turtles just growing as big and big and bigger. And the idea of them basically living this long life would, result in them just being bigger than anything we've ever seen.
Yeah.
There is something really kind of beautiful, both in the sense of like cool for storytelling purposes, but also just literally just kind of beautiful about the idea of a dragon turtle, air quotes, god, where there might be like a cult. There's an entire island living on them, but it's literally just like old. It's not a god. It has no divinity. It has no real magic powers. Because even if you look at the dragon turtle, like shy of the steam breath, they're just super big.
It doesn't feel like it's magical.
No.
It's just living its life.
Which I'm not sure I'm opposed to.
It feels like they called it a dragon turtle just because it's giant and can breathe.
It's huge.
Steam, yeah.
Some sort of breath attack, and they went, dragon, but it's not a dragon.
The monster manual has it typed as a dragon, but I've said this before, I think the monster manual might be wrong.
We are of the opinion that the monster manual should be interpreted as if it was written by humanoids, and they aren't always accurate.
Oh, no, sorry, that's your opinion. I think you should just not take anything written in them seriously. Like, change it, like, disagree with it.
I like mine.
This isn't an in-fiction thing. The writers are wrong. I did like that little side note in Volos, the idea that I do like the idea of, in universe, in fiction. But also, we don't have to build in that excuse. They wrote that to be taken literally. And guess what? You're wrong. It's not a dragon. That's clearly a big guy. If you have a sufficiently high-level druid, it should be able to wild shape into a dragon turtle, because that's just a fucking turtle.
It should absolutely just be able to do that.
I don't think they'll ever hit the hit dice. No, but if there was some combination that got you up to those hit dice, maybe a baby dragon turtle, I don't know.
Let me look into...
Which is just a turtle.
It's just like a snapping turtle, particularly mean one.
So a dragon turtle is 22 hit dice. I had to look it up because I don't know druid rules off the top of my head. The Circle of the Moon druid, the wild shapey one, you can turn into something with a challenge rating of 1/3 your level. Challenge rating of dragon turtle is 17. So you would only have to get to level 51.
Or there's a juvenile version, which would make sense since they're just natural creatures.
Yeah, it's called a snapping turtle. You covered that.
No, again, there's something between infancy and this giant ship-killing monstrosity. Something happened along the way.
Yeah.
Time.
About 50 levels.
Just saying,
Time is what happened.
We could find like a young juvenile stat block. If my player really wanted to max out at Dragon Turtle, I'd find a way to get there. I'd give them a 7-hit die version.
So are dragon turtles monsters?
So I don't think they are, because I think they're just, if we're deciding to say that they are intelligent creatures that are here to protect, and even if using the description of the monster manual where people are like, oh, you can bribe them, and I feel like they're not monsters because you can talk to them. You can engage in communication with them. And in my head, monsters are more animalistic.
A little bit more feral. I get that. Yeah. I'm just going to use this as an opportunity to also rewind to the monster manual claiming they're smart enough to be bribed. Their intelligence is 10. That's full on guy smarts. Like, that's not, they're smart enough to be bribed. It's like they're smart enough to do algebra.
The Monster Manual does this a couple times where they declare someone's intelligence at a certain level and then the stats don't back that up.
I played an average guy and my stat was 10.
Yeah.
I mean, I am an average guy. My stats aren't that much higher than 10 for intelligence. And I think that I could be bribed rather easily. You said, they're armored, they're looking for trouble. I would say nay. I would say they are a creature that carries a shield. And a creature that carries a shield is not looking for trouble. They are looking to defend.
It also has a very humid flamethrower. So
that's different.
But I've also explained that you can use it to protect, right?
And also, Aram was right, because like if you're a creature that's that big, having a 60-foot breath weapon where you just effectively cook a huge amount of fish and then you just sort of swim through that afterwards.
It's kind of difficult to eat in any other way.
Yeah.
But no, they're not monsters. They are, and they can't be monsters because according to the definition we use over and over again, they are capable of making independent decisions and have personalities that all vary on an individual basis. They're not monsters.
Well, there's the other aspect, which is just the fundamental nature of it, right? Like a devil is intelligent enough to be good, but also they're explicitly
physically monsters. Yes. They are like evil creations.
There are two possibilities for what a dragon turtle is, and that's a dragon, a creature that is sapient and has no base alignment from its nature, or a very, very clever turtle.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't know. Leonardo seems like a decent dude.
Though I'm more of a Michelangelo fan.
But that's just a turtle. That's just a humanoid in this world. Turtles are the Ninja Turtles.
Yeah, and if they grow big enough, they become dragon turtles.
Yeah.
We agreed on that
It
previously.
takes a while.
Yeah, a couple minutes, but...
You know, I wanted to make a Dragonborn for this character, but there is no dragon turtle Dragonborn. In fact, every time the dragon abilities get separated out, the dragon turtles are never included in the options. If it is a dragon, which D&D is claiming, why is the dragon turtle never included among those options?
Because D&D pays lip service to the idea of aquatic creatures, but doesn't actually care about them. That's why there's 4 different wet goblins.
Right.
You've got the Marrow. Okay, well, that's an orc that lives in the water. You've got the Swagan. That's Swagan. I don't know how to pronounce that word. Again, it's orcs that live in water. You got the Kuatoa. Those are goblins that live in water. They've got a couple of those just floating around the book. But there's nothing in there where you're like, oh, we could take this campaign from fucking 1 to 20.
In the water, yeah.
You can do the first 2 or 3 levels in the water. And when you get to 20, you can fight that dragon turtle over there. And in the middle, I hope you're fucking creative.
It's such a shame, though, because there's so many things that you can mine out of. Like, the ocean is fucking terrifying.
Horrifying.
It is. But if you're going to make look, you got 2 options, right? You can either have a couple ocean levels, because every Super Mario level can't be the water level.
Yeah.
Okay, that would ruin the game.
Agree.
Or you can create something like Subnautica, and you've now created an ocean adventure. Like it's an ocean-focused thing. It can't really be half and half, unless the world is like Waterworld, and there's very little land, and you've somehow manipulated the entire world to reinforce Waterworld. Because you just can't otherwise. Players are going to choose always to spend their time on land.
It is very fair the way that fell out. Like, I don't think that it's necessary for them to have statted out things for the assumption that you're doing an aquatic adventure. It's just odd given choices like, you know, putting in the rules where they talk about like, oh, and if you're using a slashing weapon underwater, you have disadvantage. But if you're using a stabbing weapon, you don't. Like, you're putting in very like niche rules that imply like that you're going to interact with that, when frankly, if it's going to be a thing that came up once in one session, we don't need to fucking worry about it.
Ooh, see, I disagree, because I think it underlines, like, even if you use it for a couple sessions, it really underlines the alienness of going into that world. The fact that you have to just think about, you know, it's a nice shorthand to be like, this is a different place now.
That's fair. I can't argue with that. That's actually a really good point. You were bound to do that eventually.
I've
50 episodes.
played a couple of adventures underwater, and my GM has never like cared about that.
I frankly didn't know that rule until Dylan told me right now.
Yeah, it's in there. No one remembers it because no one reads the rule book.
Yeah, that's fair.
And also, like, I think there is just like one aside in the combat section that's like fighting underwater. And then, like I said, all of the water-based creatures, except for the Marrow, they're explicitly underwater, will come up onto land and fuck you up anyway.
Just fight us on land.
Yeah, lizard folk are the closest you're really going to get. And even then, you're not worried about stabbing them so much as the fact that if they get you underwater, they're going to try to do an alligator to you.
Yeah.
God, I love lizard folk. They're so cool.
They're the best.
Somebody tell me you want to talk about lizard folk. How would you change the dragon turtle in 5th edition?
I wouldn't call them a dragon. They are just giant turtles. I would absolutely change the whole, like, them being obsessed with money and getting bribes from people. I would make them more protector beings. I would make them more of like just wise turtles, because you have to be wise to live that long.
It's also a creature that lives like in 2 worlds, right? Like it's something that comes up onto land, has seen all of that for hundreds and hundreds of years, goes back underwater, sees all that for hundreds and hundreds of years.
That's a very smart person. Like that, even just by the whole experience of their lives, living that long, they're gonna be smart. And that's like the main thing I want to change. I want to change the personality that we're met with when it comes to dragon turtles, because the dragon turtles that we are, that is in the monster manual is just treasure. Which I love my pirates, but it's kind of boring.
It is far more interesting to think of the dragon turtle as a part of the ecosystem. Like, what part would they play? Why would they be in certain areas? How do they hibernate? How do they interact with the land? Are they, carving out parts in it, or are they creating whole new bits of land just through their existence? That's a lot more fun than a bully who hangs out in a bay and forces you to bribe you.
There are 2 dragon turtles that I'm aware of in written adventures. One is Prince of the Apocalypse, where it's literally just sort of a side effect. Like if you go too close to it, it'll breathe steam on you and then it'll go away. And then there's one in Chult, and it is straight up racketeering. If you get on the boat and you go somewhere, and it's like, hey, nice boat you got there. Be a shame if something blew a big bubble under it.
Toss them a couple sacks of gold and you go on your way. That's funny.
Yeah.
That's a funny gag.
It's funny, but I want to add something, like if they do decide to like explore that area, they'll realize, the only reason that dragon turtle is doing that is because he's protecting a whole, village somewhere.
Totally.
And that's why he's doing all these things. He's presenting himself as this bad guy so that this tribe here can live peacefully. That's what I would do with that.
What if there was a dragon turtle, right, that came across the intense battle that had been fought between a gold dragon and a red dragon, both as they lie dying, and then was terrified to find that there were 3 little gold dragon wormlings that had lost their mother. So in desperation, the dragon turtle, of course, has to gather huge amounts of gold to feed their new 3 little dragon babies. And that's why they have to hit up all these ships.
That's why they have to get all these gold coins.
It's a 10% fee on every ship that goes by, and that's enough to feed the babies.
So here's my pitch. You make the dragon turtle something where it's not going for any given value of gold. It's going until you stop. And there's a threshold value of where you pay enough, and the the dragon turtle goes, you're one of the rich ones, you're one of the bad ones, and then he'll kill you.
It's just like,
if it's a bunch of people and they're desperate and they're scrounging up what they can, they throw the gold overboard, and it's clearly like, all right, fine, go. Get.
Just a couple of coins. All right, they can't afford it. They're fine. Let them go.
That's clearly fishermen. That's all good. And then there's like
capitalism.
A full huge ship, beautiful fucking royal regalia, and they don't even slow down, just hucking a full crate off the side. No, those people die.
While I do like your socialist revenge dragon turtle, I don't think they would care about the economics of humanity. I just don't think they
wouldn't. What they would care about is what the capitals are going to do, because especially consider that this is Chult.
Right.
It is extraction.
Right.
The people who are showing up there are doing active damage and causing problems.
And this is a way of equaling that out. And that's what dragon turtles do. They
and
make
the dragon turtles are smart. Even if they don't understand, the economy of humans or care. Yeah. He's like, all right, these guys fuck things up all the time.
having the level of just, oh, the rich ones are assholes. I'll sink that boat.
I mean, that's what happens with the orcas, right? They attack the yachts.
They attack the
They
yachts.
don't care.
No, but fuck
a
those
yacht.
guys.
They've managed to figure out.
It does make sense that a dragon turtle would be like looking at this as, man, people are so easy. They care about these little gold coins, and it runs their whole lives, and I can create huge waves of change just by controlling the little coins. That is, of course, what they would do if they wanted to fix something. And I do really love the idea of like a Robin Hood dragon turtle who is robbing from the rich and giving to the poor that they look after. I think that's excellent.
I'm robbing from the rich, finding out the rich can stand to be robbed, then sinking their boats.
Yes, exactly.
Which, in a way, is giving back to the poor. I'm not bringing the gold back to the poor, because like, if I wandered into the slums to distribute it, I feel like there'd be bigger problems. But
Just this giant turtle going,
hey, buddy, ho ho ho.
I figured some fishermen might come up to their boat and find a sack of gold, or maybe like a golden crown, just like, hucked up in it with a big old bite dent in it.
That's how I'd change him.
They just take big gulps of gold and then just steam blast it up and over. And so everyone's like, ah, ha, ha, ha.
just catching it.
One very wealthy, heavily scarred town. Glaiza,
Yes.
where did you come from? Monster Manual claims that dragon turtles are, elemental plane of water, but like, oceans are big.
I have just probably been swimming this specific ocean, for about 400 years now. This is my preferred area. I've swam in a lot of different areas, but this one, I've chosen this little corner of the plane as mine.
Then I want to know, the last ship that you interacted with, you wound up sinking. I want to know what they did. What agitated you? Or was this just a good day for sinking?
I would never admit this to anybody else. It rubbed me the wrong way, and I just felt like when I saw that boat could not have belonged to a good person because of the color scheme.
Yeah, there's gold paint all along the hull, even under the water line. Like, I have them pull the whole ship out of the water at least once a year to make sure that gold paint goes all the way through the
tacky,
hull.
I'd think that fuck too.
I just knew deep in my heart that it didn't deserve to continue floating in my ocean.
Then I have to ask, given that this is an act of, functionally, spite, was this a full-on attack? Did you go in aggressive, or was this just you saw somebody you didn't like and you tripped them?
I don't even think I made much of an appearance. I just made a really big bubble and have it float up to that boat. I made sure that they didn't drown or anything like that. I had a little bit of assistance in moving them around, but I just wanted the boat gone.
What have you been up to since then?
Mostly just resting, visiting my favorite island, seeing my favorite people, and then just going back.
So you're like fully coming up like on land, visiting with folks.
Well, not fully coming up, just my head.
Fair enough. Yeah.
You don't really need to. The island is not big enough.
Respectable.
I am bigger than that island.
Yeah.
I really do like the idea of them having a to-do list that is island, nap, island, nap.
To live that life.
I've lived long enough that those are the two important things: to visit my friends and to sleep. I don't even need to eat that much anymore. I'm just that old.
Aram,
Yes.
what have you been up to since that particular event?
So the loss of the golden goose was a traumatizing event. I sunk all of my inheritance into this boat that was shaped like a golden goose, and the front of it was the bill, and the sides of the boat were swept back like wings, and it was painted gold all throughout this motif, and it was the finest ship. I was continuing my father's shipping business. I just wished to have the finest cargo ship of all the cargo ships in the land.
Hold on, though. So the front of it looked like the bill.
Yes, correct.
Which implies that like the body of the boat itself was part of the head. Like, so it wasn't like it wasn't like a swan boat situation. It's not like the neck came up and there was a head.
It's very, very swept back. It's very pulled. Like it's not a
Okay, so this was
perfect
more or
goose.
less in the shape of a regular boat, and you just painted it to look like a goose.
No, it was all carved. So the bill
But
was
still
carved,
in the
head was
shape
carved.
of like a regular
In the shape
boat.
of a boat. Yeah. It's like a relief.
I'm on the turtle side.
You can see why I sunk this boat.
Look, it was beautiful. It was absolutely beautiful.
Was.
And I sunk my entire inheritance into it, and then they sunk the boat.
Yeah.
After, pulling myself out of the water and turning to my crew and pulling out my pistol, cocking it and saying, "We sail for revenge," and then they all left, I have now pulled out one of my feather tokens, summoned my little swan boat, I am now riding it at full speed, pistol in the air, back towards where I last encountered this dragon turtle.
I do like the fact that Glaiza was very explicit that they like helped people get back to land. So it was like you telling people like, no, kill it. And they were like, this is our ride out of the ocean. No.
And then I went to the land in my little boat and I sailed back and forth like I was gonna raise the army, told them all to get on board, and they refused. And the way that the feather token works, right, it only makes a boat big enough for who's on the boat. So since none of them would get on the boat, it's only like a little two-person tunnel of love.
This fully is just the swan, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. If more people had gotten on it would have gotten bigger. But since they refused to go, it's just me. It moves at 40 too, so it's basically like I'm on a little jet ski.
You know that 40's like marginally faster than a person, right?
Look, it's not a very fast jet ski. It's more of just a ski.
It's a jet ski, but not a fast one, and that's fine.
It's a jet ski without any gas and with someone paddling.
It's a sail ski. There's no jet technology in this
Paddle
era.
ski.
Yeah.
It's a paddle ski.
Paddle ski. It literally just is that swan boat. It's got like the little foot pedals in it.
Yes, but they're very effective.
So you have been like kind of booting back and forth, trying to catch sight of this, I have to point out, beast that lives underwater.
But it came up once. It will come up again.
Give me a survival roll.
I have a plus 14 to survival. That is a 7 plus 14 is 21.
Yeah, I think this is on the order of days. I think this is fully like you have to go back to land, get food, and continue looking.
There's like a shanty tavern, and I keep going back in there to get supplies and rum, and I keep telling the story about how I'm going to get revenge on this dragon turtle. I'm like, yeah, sure thing, Captain, with your little dinghy.
It's the 4th or 5th time where you finally get it out of like a 16-year-old who, like, when they say it, get like cuffed in the back of the head of like, you keep going back and forth and like, are we not going to just tell him about the island?
What island, young man?
The dragon turtle visits an island about 40 miles to the east of here. It's pretty small. It's easy to miss, especially in a boat your size. But, you know, they keep coming back over there. They come up. You can find them. There you go. And you and your little fucking bird boat can stop coming here.
I'm going to lean in across the table, pluck a single platinum from my belt. And when would this dragon turtle be visiting this island next, boy?
How desperate are you right now?
Very.
Okay, roll the insight at disadvantage.
My insight is +2. That is a 7. That's the low one. +2 is 9.
With absolute certainty, and immediately he goes, visits once every 3 or 4 days.
All right. I hand over the platinum.
A cleverer person would notice that the moment that he says that, he gets a look from the guy next to him. What the fuck are you talking about?
Right. So it's a lie.
100%. But you pulled out a platinum. I was actually looking at this the other day, and like, I think it was an unskilled laborer is hired out for like 2 silver a day. You just pulled out about 2 months of wages.
It's a lot of money.
And dangled it in front of a random 16-year-old. He lied.
Right. Of course he lied. No, that makes sense.
I would lie.
Right. All right. Well, but I go on that advice.
Yeah.
And so I head out with the full intention of I buy a bunch of supplies, right? Mm-hmm. And so it's like it's a 2-person swan boat. So in the seat next to me, I have stacked all my supplies, all my rope and my rations and everything, and my tent. And I have picked out the island and I have gone to it. When I did not see you there, I set up a tent and I set up a little beach camp. And and every morning I get up and I set sail. And every night when you don't show, I go back to my tent.
Do you just hang out in the island?
Yeah, I just hang out in the island.
There's a bunch of very uncomfortable locals going about their day and just avoiding this guy.
It's a weird guy on the beach with his swan boat.
I think you are so confident that this is the place that you're not even asking the locals about it.
No, of course not.
Imagine the park near your apartment just suddenly has a guy showing up every day, angry. Glaiza, how often do you show up at this island?
I say once a month. I don't really go there for a lot of things, and I like to make sure the place is safe, make sure the place is, stocked with things that they need. So once a month.
Okay, Aram. Basically, how long before you start talking to other people?
So a week in, he starts getting itchy and begins to observe. He's got like one of those long spy glasses, right? It's the one thing he got off the boat. So he's got this beautiful golden and ivory spyglass. It's the one thing he was able to save as the ship went down, besides the stuff that the gear that was just on him. Mm-hmm. So he pulls it out and he begins to, instead of watching the ocean the entire time, he begins to observe the locals. He won't speak to them yet, but he is now observing them
through the telescope.
Yes, through his little spyglass. Yeah.
They're very aware of that, because now we have the weird guy in the park watching you with a telescope.
Yes.
So about like 13, 14 days in, you finally get someone, an adult, who comes over and goes like, hey, excuse me.
Oh, hello.
Do you live here now?
No, this is a temporary situation. I am here on a mission, and when my mission is complete, I shall leave your good island in the exact care upon which I found it.
Okay, so the thing is, the spyglass thing.
Yes.
Uh,
It is quite a thing, isn't it? I know. You must have caught your eye from across the way.
No.
It is a combination of gold and ivory given to me from my great-grandfather, who handed it down many generations before him.
Yep.
It's said that when used, all dangers shall fall away.
That's not really important to me. Can you stop watching my family?
I see what you mean. No, see, I was not watching your family. What I was watching for were signs. Signs of the creature I have been seeking.
Okay, so unless that creature is like a 14-year-old, you're being really weird about it.
No, see, I figured you island people.
Okay, I'm trying to be very polite about this.
You worship this large turtle creature,
what?
Yes?
What are you
It is a god to you.
No.
You must honor it in some ways. You must give it a sacrifice so it does not come upon land and devour you all.
It doesn't come upon land because you won't fit.
I see. You flee to the hills whenever you see its monstrous back appear.
This guy is now looking over, the beach is 20 feet.
Right.
And this dragon is 60 some odd feet long at the low end.
It's just too big for the beach.
It's literally just doesn't fit. And also there aren't hills. This is a small island.
Right.
So he's now just looking around. What are you flee to the hill?
How often does this creature stop by your beautiful island?
This is where you get the honest answer. They dropped off supplies maybe maybe a fortnight ago. So probably not for another 2-3 weeks.
Well, I have been here for 14 days. That is unfortunate. I bet actually he looks in he's been carving it into the wood and it's 13 marks. And he's missed it by one. So you're saying that I will be here for another 14 days.
Probably, but also, have you considered waiting somewhere further away from my family?
How about this, my friend? I shall not look upon you anymore, as I have all the information I require. And as a token of my appreciation, I shall reward you with money. And he pulls out another.
Why'd you say money weird?
Platinum coin. Because it's special money. Have you seen platinum before?
Why would I need platinum?
Money is used to buy goods and services.
No, that's not what I'm saying.
As a token of appreciation for allowing me to share your...
If I take it, will you stop talking?
I will.
Great. He takes this platinum, which is more money than he frankly needs for anything. And also, he's a small
island.
Yeah, it's a small island.
Sure.
There aren't this is the sort of amount of money where because it could destroy the economy, it actually has no value.
Right.
You can't spend this.
Right.
That's going to a kid's lemonade stand with $100 bill. It doesn't matter.
It's gonna blow it up. No, I see what you're saying.
So they won't take it from you.
Right. Fair enough.
So yeah, no, he leaves with a very cool coin now. That's gonna be neat.
That went well. And I shall now that I know what I'm looking for, I will spend the next 14 days training. I shall be in my boat every day practicing maneuvers and getting ready for this big showdown with my arch nemesis.
You do that, and there's a lot of stories being told to kids of just don't look at him, don't make eye contact, just leave him alone. He's weird about the turtle.
And no one on the island seems remotely concerned that I might be able to accomplish this feat.
No.
Right. Gotcha.
You are effectively a cat mad at a car.
Yeah, but I'm a cat with magic.
A couple weeks go by of you being the biggest fucking weirdo.
Yes.
Glaiza.
Yes.
What are you bringing back?
I have gathered a couple of, like, a lot of fish for them and a couple of materials that they could bring. I even grabbed some from the boat that sank and just sort of like just bringing it over just to see
Just good timber,
things that they can use in their daily life, and a couple of stories to tell them about their ancestors, because that's why I visit. I get to know their family, and I am known as that really nice turtle who visits every now and then and just talks to them.
A snapping turtle in general, which is what I'm going off of, its head is like a third the width of its body, just eyeballing it.
Big anvil-shaped heads.
When this turtle, fully ignoring you, doesn't even recognize your existence, pulls up onto the beach, it is again a 20-foot wide head. Dropping off the entire mast of your former ship, along with like fish, all kind of par-cooked, parboiled specifically. Just so much stuff, the kind of stuff that you can fit in 20 feet of mouth while you are out on your little paddle boat.
Look at how it threatens these people with the destruction it has wrought. Look at how it intimidates them.
This thing, again, is bigger than the beach itself.
Such an evil creature. They will thank me when it is gone.
There are children patting its nose.
I am whispering at the children, and I'm whispering at the people because, I don't want to speak too loud and scare them. A soft whisper of like,
"Oh, you've grown so big since I last saw you. You can talk now. It's beautiful."
Have you seen? Watch this. And a little somersault.
"Oh, that's beautiful. Oh, your great-great-grandmother would have been so proud."
You're getting all of the basic updates of, this is grandma comes around to visit, right? Learning his knots. He wants to be a sailor. We keep telling him that like there's nothing around here to sail to, but he's insistent. He thinks he's gonna build himself a raft. It's very cute.
Well, if he does want to travel, I can take him along on my other adventures. He doesn't have to sail that.
We tried to pitch him on that. Mm-hmm. He wants to do it himself.
Oh,
you gotta
encourage it. It's okay.
Yeah, I'm just worried about, and of course you're like now coming up towards land,
coming up behind it, and there is and then an explosion as I fire one of these necklace of fireballs into the air, and it explodes like a huge firework behind you.
Everyone immediately panics. It's a fireball.
In the air, though, like not at you, but over the water.
Yeah, I know you're not murdering all of the people, but it's also a 40-foot explosion.
It's a 40-foot explosion directly above my boat, yeah.
I open my mouth so that all of the people can run in and protect themselves.
Yeah, a bunch of the kids hide in your mouth.
Creature! Release those prisoners. Do not eat those children. Spit them back upon the beach, monster, and face me.
There's a pat inside on the side of just he's been here for a month.
And then I guide them carefully with my tongue because I can't really talk with people in there. So I guide the children out with my tongue. And I'm like,
"I'm sorry. What?"
As I start to approach, are you turning to face me?
Just my eye.
And I will come along the side a bit. Creature, you have done me a great injustice. We are arch nemesis, and I am here to return the favor.
Young man, what is your name?
My name is Captain Crook. Crueke, E with the two little dots over it. Captain Crook.
Do you know what an umlaut does?
Yeah, it does what I just did.
Okay.
I do not remember you.
But you remember my ship, and I would point to the mast and the sail and everything else, and I am here to avenge her.
That was a terrible looking ship.
A mortal blow.
Cocks both pistols when he points them at you, looks at you, looks at the beach. They're within a 40-foot blast radius. So he hesitates. He doesn't want to nuke the kids. He's the good guy, right?
The kids are like, there are a couple, like the older ones that are like, this is fucked up. You have guns and are pulling back. There's like a couple of small ones that are like holding up sticks as if they're swords and having to be pulled back by parents.
I'm going to turn to you as you have these two guns at my eyeball, I guess, and I will whisper and say,
Would you mind if we take this somewhere else? I would like to keep my friends safe.
And I would look down at my little boat, and I would mentally will it to pedal backwards, and I would just keep the guns on you, but simply pedal backwards further into the sea.
perfect. And I will look at my friends and I will say,
Do not worry, I will try not to kill him, and I will try to talk to him. Talk some sense into him. I did, however, sink his boat, so he does have cause to be mad. But I will not kill him.
There is a mixed response of some people are vaguely curious of why you would do that. Why'd you sink his boat? Some of them are like, oh, good, don't kill him. And then there's at least one person who's like, you could.
He kind of has it coming.
when they ask me why I sank the boat, I just point at the remains of the boat and I would go,
It was really tacky.
There was a big old section of the boat that has Golden Goose written in golden letters on the wood. And below it, there's Captain Crook's actual signature that's been painted into the hull.
oh my gosh.
Several people fully understand why you sank this boat and are pro killing this man.
Behind you, I have circled around, and as you turn to face me, I would be like, you do seem like a noble creature. You seem to have your own beliefs and perhaps sense of fairness, so I suggest a duel. At 100 yards, we face back to back, we march 100 yards apart, turn and face one another.
I would like to point out that I am a very large creature and 100 yards is not a lot for me.
That is fair. Then we shall both travel 100 yards and turn and face each other at 200 yards total.
Again, I would like to point out that I am a very large creature, and I do not have a gun. Therefore, I will be using something else in this duel.
I have seen what you can do. I am ready for you.
I do not think it'll be fair.
Do not worry about me. Worry about yourself.
Is there a way we could just talk about this?
I believe we have talked long enough. Talking will not restore my boat. Talking will not return my crew. You have taken much from me, creature, and you shall pay for it this day.
I'm pretty sure I saved your crew.
Yes, but they're not my crew anymore. They're just people on the land, which means that you have destroyed my crew. Whether or not they live...
Oh, they don't like you anymore, is that it?
Well, there is no boat for them to be on, so no, they are no longer my crew. So whether or not they live or not, you have still destroyed my crew.
Alright, just making sure, because I'm pretty sure I made sure that they were safe.
Unfortunately, that really did stop the bloodlust from returning. They really didn't want to come and fight you after you had given them all a nice ride home and had that conversation with them. They all seemed rather fond of you. I remain incensed that you have sunken my boat, destroyed my possessions for no reason whatsoever. I did nothing to you.
It is true, I do apologize for that. It was just a very tacky boat, and I saw it pass. It was not... I have no excuse, and it was my fault. I should not have sank your boat.
Put the pistols back into his holster, right? And begin to slide his boat towards you. And continue to talk. And continue to be like, yes, but, you know, you still sunk my boat, and that doesn't bring it back, and these are nice words, everything. But
Is there a way I can make it up to you, basically?
he's trying to get close enough. The idea here is that when he gets near enough, he is going to sleight of hand try and flick one of his tokens into your mouth.
Okay. Then the first phase of this is going to be your sleight of hand opposed by a insight or perception. Why doesn't this thing have any skills? Yeah, I guess it's going to be a straight wisdom check for the dragon turtle.
My sleight of hand is +3, and that is 15 plus 3 is 18.
Mine is 13.
You manage to get close enough palming this thing, and you go to flick it into the mouth. If the mouth is 20 feet wide, I want you to think about like how far back you have to be having this conversation. Like it's got to be like a full-on chuck it in motion.
Totally.
So I'm going to have Glaiza, you make a dex save versus Aram, just a ranged attack roll.
That's going to be an 18 plus 10 is 28.
I don't think that's possible.
That's super high, yeah.
So I got an 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24.
Close. Really close.
When you make this motion, the mouth goes to snap shut. But the thing is, you're throwing
A tiny little token.
a feather token.
Well, as soon as that jaw snaps shut, a moment later, a 60-foot tall, 5-foot diameter tree appears inside their mouth, hopefully thrusting it open.
What I'm going to say is this thing ballooning out to 60 feet tall, we're going to treat as equivalent to a thing falling 60 feet.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm going to say that's 66 bludgeoning damage. And Glaiza, I want you to make your call. You can make a strength check to try to like crunch this, or you can just let it fall out of your mouth.
I'm gonna crunch it because I feel something growing and I'm just like, that's weird, and I'm crunching it.
Aram, roll me the 66.
15 total points of damage.
Okay. So you're going to take 15 total points of damage. And Glaiza, make me a strength check.
That is 16 plus 7.
23. It takes like a moment of force to like snap it, crush it, and huck the pieces off to the side. Aram, you wanted the mouth open for a second, and I'm going to say that this whole process is giving you an opening.
Right.
I want to hear what you're trying to do, but recognize that at a 24,
The idea was to get the mouth open and fire 2 fireballs directly down its throat.
okay.
I get 1 maybe instead of 2.
Yeah, I think that's what it boils down to.
Okay. What do I have to roll to hit?
Is there any sort of enchantment on your gun?
Yes, it is a +2 pistol, it's a magical pistol.
Okay, you're firing at an enormous thing. I'm going to say roll at disadvantage.
Okay.
If either hits, you hit the dragon turtle.
Right.
If the disadvantage roll hits, you hit the target.
Gotcha. Okay.
Does that make sense? So you're
that
going to
does.
roll twice, and if any die hits, it is a hit on the attack. If the disadvantage roll hits, you get it in the mouth.
I rolled a 16 and a natural 20, both of which are +13.
Okay, so the 16 is going to hit. So it's not going to be a crit. This is the precision thing.
Right.
You fire. It is a tiny little glowing orange and red seed just flying through, slowly sort of expanding until it hits the back of the dragon turtle's mouth and explode. How much damage is that?
8d6. 29 points of damage.
Okay, so first off, it has resistance to fire damage.
Outside.
Inside is where the steam breath comes from.
Right. No, that's fair. That's a very valid point.
If anything, you've shot it in the more fire-resistant part.
Fair.
I will give you, however, your dex +2, the standard like extra weapon damage added on.
Fair enough. Okay. Right. So now it's 31.
Half to 15.
Right.
Aram, you don't have like a fucking secret third attack or some shit.
No, and technically I did an action plus an attack. So
Yeah.
I really shouldn't be able to do that anyway.
Yeah.
So I think I'm at my motions. And I think that I'm so shocked that it didn't like blow a big hole in the thing that I haven't moved. So I haven't even moved away. I'm like only like 30 feet.
Also, if we're treating this as a single turn, you were very specifically moving to begin with to get close enough to pull all this shit off.
Yep.
Glaiza, it is your turn.
The first thing I do after chucking that thing and then having something explode in my mouth, I go,
Ouch.
and then I am going to lower my head.
Your boat legitimately moved when she drank water.
I am just gonna push him with my nose off of the boat.
All right, oppose strength.
Oh dear. All right.
This is resisting a shove.
Right. Okay. Well, my strength roll is, well, not bad. 16 plus 2 is 18. That's about as good as I could do.
So it's a +7, and I got a 19.
Okay, so that's a 26.
So close.
So
I did pretty good.
you were beaten by 8,
Yeah.
which is like almost half of a die. You are hurled back about 30 feet.
Whoa.
Off the boat, through the air, into the water. I want you to make me a dexterity save.
Dexterity save is going to be +9. That is going to be a 15 plus 9 is 24.
You are flying through the air, and there's a moment where you go to land and you see the feather token is going to hit,
Right.
and it's going to blow you under.
That's actually fine. I accept that. I accept it and go with it.
Okay, yeah, fine. Then what is the spell in the feather token? It's a standard gust of wind, like 30-foot push.
Yeah, it creates a gust of wind.
Okay, so you're going to take 5 points of bludgeoning damage when you hit the water because you were thrown so far into the air that hitting the water hurts.
Sure.
At that point, you hit, and the water kind of crushing around you cracks the feather token, and the gust of wind just fully shoves you 30 feet deep.
I'm wearing a cloak of the manta ray, so I actually swim faster than the boat.
I turn to my friends on the island.
I think I killed him. I wasn't trying to, but I think I did it.
Meanwhile, underwater, the cloak of the manta ray forms up around. You know, my eyes turn red. The little breathing apparatus goes in.
It's an action to pull the hood up.
It's an action to pull the hood up, then I
Yeah.
will pull the hood up.
You go 30 feet down. It takes you a second to get your shit together because you have to get the hood up and you're underwater. The moment you do, the water that you're like starting to choke on just goes down and like you breathe it like water. And yes, your eyes go red for some reason, a standard trait of manta rays.
Correct. Then I draw my scimitar and I start swimming up underneath the dragon turtle towards its belly.
Yeah, I'll give you a 60-foot speed. That'll probably do it. So, Glaiza, give me a perception roll just to see if you notice.
All right, cool. That is a 19.
Yeah, this thing is moving faster than it should be. Basically, you feel the current shifting, and it's the little like tilt of your head putting the eye under the water. You see, shooting forward, honestly, faster than you swim at a leisurely pace, at least, is the guy.
I'm going to carefully use my claws to
Yep.
sort of catch it. Just gently catch it. just to stop it.
And we're going to make this just a grapple. This is an opposed athletics. Aram, you can use acrobatics.
Yeah, thank God. Okay. I will use acrobatics.
Only because the cloak grants you a swim speed. I think if you were just in the water.
In the water. Yeah, it'd be strength. You're right. That roll.
So it's strength for me,
minus
right?
8 plus 9 is
15
17.
plus 7.
Oh, yeah, I did not win.
Sorry, 15 plus 7.
You've got the scimitar pulled back, and then you're just caught. Any one of these claws is bigger than your scimitar.
As I catch you, I turn to the island people and I go,
Oh no, I think he's still alive.
I carefully lift him up out of the water. Are you okay?
I have 2 things I could do right now in response. I could cast one of 2 spells.
Okay.
One is banishment. Seems like that would be a chance at least to temporarily send this creature away. But the other one that I find really interesting is water walk. And what I think I want to do is, as this thing pulls me closer, I want to slap my hand on its claw and force it out of the water. Force it to the surface.
Okay, give me a second. I'm going to have to fucking do a ruling on this.
Okay.
No.
Oh, come on. Why not? I can do it on another creature. There's nothing saying. There's no saving throw.
This spell grants the ability.
Right.
Meaning that it is not a requisite.
If you target a creature submerged in a liquid, the spell carries the target to the surface of the liquid at a rate of 60 feet per round.
That is very clearly meant to be if someone is using the effect of the spell starting underwater.
Right.
The phrasing of the spell itself is it grants the ability to walk on water. It doesn't make you treat water as a solid object. You can elect to not be doing that. It is a may effect.
Fine.
Also,
Fine. Yes.
I would absolutely give that a saving throw. You can't cast on unwilling creatures.
All right, fine.
Like, if you're really that desperate, like, keep that in. Let the people know that I said no, because that's not what the spell says it does. But I will play by your rules if you want to force a spell.
No. I accept no. I am a team player. I accept no. And instead, as you pull me close and I get close, I will look and I will give whatever version of with hell's heart I stab at thee. And I grab your giant claw and I cast banishment.
Okay, what kind of save is that?
1 second, let me pull that open. You attempt to send one creature that you can see. It is going to be a charisma save, 16.
That's actually going to be rough.
Oh, that is a natural 20.
Oh, shit.
+1. My charisma is a +1.
Yeah, I was so convinced this was going to work. This is my ace in the hole. Yeah, I studied dragon turtles. Like, I know them at least. Then I was like, well, they won't be able to resist this.
You try to banish this thing into the plane that it's from. But the thing is, the plane this thing is from is the elemental plane of water. And that is contiguous with the oceans. So there is a certain sort of arcane metaphysical argument to be made that you are trying to send this thing where it is.
Right.
So you push, and it pulses through the water, and it effectively just feels like the dragon turtle has dissipated the spell through just the water conducting it.
There's this huge swelling of water that just bursts all around us, but the dragon turtle doesn't move. There's just this explosion of water, this rain back down, and it hasn't shifted an inch. So at that point, I'm kind of out of options.
And you're also like grappled by it.
I am going to look at you and I'm going to go,
Are you okay?
No, you broke my boat.
I apologize for breaking your boat.
I've got like one hand free and I'm waggling a finger at you. It does not bring my boat back. Words are not sufficient. Words are not boats. Words do not carry a crew.
And I get you a boat.
I would stop pointing and I was like, well, I didn't consider that you may have access to boats.
I don't use them myself, as you can see, but I can travel around and ask for a boat. And it may not be as beautiful as your boat, but it will be a boat.
As you say boat, he like turns his head and he whistles for his little swan boat that like kind of like zooms up next to him. Sheepishly gestures that maybe he could be placed upon his little swan boat in a slightly more dignified position than just being held.
And I will gently try to place him carefully onto the boat.
The boat nearly capsizes, but you get it done.
Stand up and I straighten my coat and I brush the wrinkles out. So
It's straight up like it's got water in it, and it just sort of like fully moves like a swan, gets up, flaps its wings in a way that opens the body of the boat and the water pours out, and then it just settles back into being a boat and showing no signs that the wings could separate from the body.
it's kind of cool.
That is a very cool boat.
Yeah, he did not expect that to happen. He was like, well, that was kind of neat, actually. Well, I suppose that would solve all of my concerns then. Yes, I do believe that this is a satisfactory conclusion.
Perfect. I do want to say they don't want you waiting over there on our island. You have sufficiently creeped them out.
Yes, well, I won't leave your side because you have promised me a boat, and I will not leave your side until a boat has been provided.
I see.
I think that's where we do kind of a bit of a cut. And it's just immediately to, I don't think you want to go on adventures with this guy.
Not really, no. I want to go back to my island.
Okay, so this is like a beeline to a boat. I want to know,
Okay.
do you have like a fleet of boats somewhere
not.
stashed? Or is this just straight up like you go to a merchant vessel and
I'm
be
going to
like,
go to a merchant vessel and I'm going to be like, hey,
this is your captain now?
I would ask permission first. So it's going to be a little bit difficult because I'm not just going to be like, this is your captain now, I'm going to go, peace out. I'm going to have to look for somebody who's willing to take this man as their new captain.
You've gone to so many boats and you've explained the whole thing, like, and it's totally optional, and they just go like, no?
Cool.
All
thanks.
right, then.
And then I'm going to leave. And I'm going to get frustrated, but I made a promise. And time, what's time to me?
The 12th no, you've really delivered the speech with intensity. There's just steam pouring out the nose and like, no?
Fine, have a nice day.
There is a point where you are finally offered like, we have a captain. We do need a cook.
That you just take one letter off your name and that's practically your name.
What is the upward mobility aboard this ship?
So you wouldn't obviously like if something happened to the captain, it wouldn't go straight to you. But like I guess if you were helpful, we could get you into sort of a quartermaster position.
This is fully acceptable. And the swan grows. It grows until he's able to basically step off the back of the swan.
Does not grow in the slightest. It flaps in the way that ducks do when they're like taking off, where it's like a little bit messy. It isn't really an elegant thing. And it perches on the side of the boat. At which point, the fact that this is a feather token effect really sort of like, I don't think they come back to you.
You can use it every 24 hours.
Is it every 20?
Yeah.
Then it just flaps up and it does one last flap and a spectral shape of the goose or the swan flies away, leaving a feather behind that just sort of floats down into your hand.
I gather it. I turn to my new crew. I bow deeply. Thank you for having me aboard. I shall be amazing. And then I turn to my turtle friend. Good day, sir. It has been a pleasure to know you, and despite the fact that we got off on the wrong shell, I believe we shall be friends for many years to come.
I hope that you have a good life.
And then I turn to the other person.
Please take care of him. Make sure he doesn't die. He's not very smart.
And then I just turn and leave.
Good day, Turtle! Good day! And I fire a firework over the side of the boat to explode over you.
Everyone freaks out. Just panic. That's going to be our hard cut.
Yeah, just a hard cut of him. Shink, boom, and the whole crew diving for cover. Thank you for joining us for the Dragon Turtle. For more information about us, notes for each episode, and ways you can help support the show, head over to killeverymonster.com.
If any of the ideas we've discussed on the show have sparked some of your own, tell us about it on Twitter at KEM Podcast. You'll find me at DJ Malenfant and Aram at Aram Vardian.
For ad-free episodes, early releases, bonus episodes, print-ready maps, our new audio DMs notes, and my character sheets for each encounter, head over to patreon.com/deadghostpro.
Our intro theme and many of the sound effects you hear in the show were created by Battle Bards. Check them out at battlebards.com.
This episode was produced by Aram Vartian and Dylan Malenfant. I also did the editing. We were joined by Glaiza. You can find them on Twitter at Classical Glaiza. And if you are anything like me and all of that information just fell right out of your head, you'll find everything you need at killeverymonster.com.
And we'll see you next time for Kill Every Monster.